and they have these symbols and people got to figure it out. And before it's too late, then the monster or whatever it was is done sprung upon them. And it's something because they could not read the hieroglyphics or the different type of symbolism that was in front of them. And we're like that today. We are like that today to where there are symbols and things that are in plain sight. And I can take it into a more real world experience real quickly. I can take it into East LA. If you go there and you don't know the game symbols and you walk yourself into the wrong thing wearing the wrong colors, you can pay a serious price for not understanding the tags. And they do it here in Dallas. I mean, there's just areas that they will tag. And with those tags, it's pretty much. Another thing that I've been harping on and I will continue to harp on is all of us that are in business and some of us that have these logos. And Lonnie and I was talking about this today, and she was talking about the Starbucks symbol, which I still have a cup over here, and I did a kind of a story on this, right? And she said she liked the siren, and I was like, yeah. But at the end of the moment it's not the symbol itself always have its intentions, but the person who is harnessing it don't have to mean that they're a bad person. For example, when we think about the pentagram and all of that stuff, well, there are some cases that it actually had a positive meaning, but because there was religious and cults and things that used it and they became more profound, we then associated with Satan or a different other aspect. But I think it was the Star of David or a different one. So the power of it is within the hands of the beholder. And where we're going with this is when we were talking about logos and businesses, and a lot of you probably, would experience this. So let's just say you decide to open up your coffee company. You call some brand expert, and if they don't really understand the power of what they're really doing, but they're good at brand experts, they may draw you a monkey holding a coffee cup. Well, your logo needs to let people identify who you are. This shit don't say nothing about no coffee. It has nothing to do with coffee. It doesn't, if I saw this for the first time, I'm not thinking it's coffee. You know what I'm saying? But you go to a brand expert today, they're going to make you a logo with a coffee cup so that I know you do coffee. And most people are going to be, oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's cool. No, not anymore, people. We're going to teach people, no, it's time for us to harness the power of the symbols of the past, the ancient symbols, the power, the magic for ourselves, because it is a protective thing. It's something that you want to learn and pretty much go there. So I wouldn't let anybody today design me a design that will be toward the fact that I'm just using, for example, I'm selling dolphins, and now my design got a dolphin. Everybody needs to know it's a dolphin. Put the right thing that represent you, the power of what you represent, your intentions, and let them design that flow within your intentions and your energy so that you get back what you put into the cosmos for that. But that's just, I'm just saying, right? But imagine, walking through an ancient temple where symbols are carved in stone and they're forgotten in time. And what message were we trying to convey? Well, at this point, that's exactly where I was talking about, because in historic times, it is the ancient symbols that does this. But then what happens now when you decide that you want to understand what is going on? Like we used yesterday, I'm just going back to yesterday's examples. I talked about the chakra. I talked about the 7 chakras, and then the lowest and it was being read, and how 7-Up exploited that. Now we're talking about these companies that have been around in 1950s and 20s and 30s and 70s, where this was a known thing. From Walt Disney, if you go look at his logo, the 666 is sitting in there. Now today we represent 666 to Satan. And then, of course, Satan being the opposite of God. Now we're talking dark versus light. Then the question is, you got to, and I'm not saying this is what I'm doing, but you want to find out why some of these people who do represent Satan are some of the most successful people in the world. Now, there's people who represent Jesus Christ that's successful in the world. Does these deities matter? Does this matter? Where's the actual power of life is drawn from? But what we do know, all of these things that they're drawing is from Jesus Christ to church to Satanism to all of this are coming from some type of symbol. And so I think it's in our best interest to begin the process to understand that there may be some significant value in learning these things. So if you're with me with that and you see that that's something, because I'm going there regardless, right? Like I said, I have all these different books. This one here has just about any symbol you can think of, thousands of them. And it has a definition, and some things that I would look at, I thought was just as evil as all get out, but that's not true. And pretty much from there. The other part is, think about, like I said before, logos that could be deeper in the meaning and hidden behind the mermaid or apple with the bite, take a bite out of it. I'm not going to get into it this show, but the Apple logo actually has a symbolic thing. And it's not just about that apple. So who and what took that bite? Where do we know in our story where there was a bite out of the apple and what happened? Where did it take us? What did it cast? Or what was the significant meaning of that apple? And why would Apple use a logo that has a bite mark within it? Because they know there's something there with it and it's not just cute. And like I said, we'll get into that in a whole nother segment once we get into different things from there. But that's what I'm saying. So we need to begin to do that. But what's most important is, again, to harness the power to do so. So as we go down the rabbit hole of truth versus authority, as we go down that rabbit hole, I think it's more of a rebellion time to really go into those things. And we'll go into a little bit of that tonight, because I'm going to set everything on fire tonight for the mission, for things that I think that's going on, things that I want to relate to you, that's them things I have not told you or talked about. But I think it's time for you to be informed and pretty much from there to look at where we're going. Let me drink some water here. Oh, yeah. Good old water now, man. Yeah, it's good old water. So now, my question to you, whoever's watching me, have you ever, and I need everybody to participate so we can have a better conversation on what we're doing. Have you ever felt drawn to a symbol and you didn't know why? Let's explore why might that be. So anybody that's in the audience right now, think about it. Any particular symbol, whether it's the cross, and I'm just giving you some examples. Kind of give me a description of what it is, and so we can have this conversation. But why do you think that you are drawn to it without really knowing what it is? And if it's something that has a name, then I'm going to look it up right here in one of my illustration books that has over 1,000 symbols from A to Z. And then we may just find out what kind of meaning behind it. So again, 777. Okay, that's numerology. Let's go with a actual symbol. That's pretty much. But 777, yeah. I mean, numerology is the bomb, right? We know that. So Philly Cat said, no, I haven't, at least not that I know of. And that's something that is pretty not thorough, but that's one of the things that we're talking about, because oftentimes you don't know why you are drawn to a certain symbol because of the point that you just don't know. It has hidden meanings. Well, what if we were to go over those things and we begin to exploit those so that, the all-seeing eye? That is one in particular. Now, there's an all-seeing eye that people thought it was negative, but the all-seeing eye is actually a positive thing too, especially when it comes down to the Turkish all-seeing eye. And I actually have that. I don't know if I put it on a shirt. I mean, up in the website there, but yeah. So you got the flower of life. You have all kinds. So there's all sorts of symbols everywhere, and they all, like I said, have a important meaning. The infinity. Yep. In fact, let's go into that a little bit. I think I just ran across the infinity pretty much from there. But yeah, so what symbol, if you're just joining us right now, that you like or you see and you're drawn to it, but you really don't know why? Okay, you have no clue. Maybe it's the moon and a star, or maybe it's something in particular. But at the end of the day, why? Yes, the three. Yeah, that is all over in this book. We can discuss that too. And the hexagon. Yeah, all of these things. Now we're getting somewhere. I appreciate y'all participation. And once again, there are things. And if you want to tell me why you think you're drawn to them, or maybe you know the meaning of those particular symbols, and so therefore it has drawn you to, to adore it or like it or whatever you want to call it from there. So we have Merkaba there. We have stars, the double tangerine. Yeah. So yeah, I'm saying there's just so many things. So I think we're on the same page, all of us, that we get to a point where that we're talking about symbolism and everything else, and pretty much. So let's keep going, and then I'll find. All right. So here's they all seeing. This is the evil eye. So the evil eye, which most people are thinking that is evil, but it actually was intended to ward off people giving you the evil eye. I actually have this shirt. I think it's on the website now, or will be, for protection. But this was it was an old saying that somebody gaze at you and they pretty much will give you the look. Then you have to be careful that they don't give you the evil eye, and they say that from that point right now. And so it is something that, that we have to do, from that point of view. Hold on. So, yeah. So it's, all right. But anyway, so we have that the evil eye, and like I said, the whole point of the evil eye is the fact that this is, one of those things that it's not a bad myth that a lot of people thought. It's a good myth. This is where you use it for protection. So it's something that I think from there, you do not need protection unless you need protection. Well, you know what? That is, I think that is going to be to one's own interpretation, Kim, where you do not need it unless you need it. And oftentimes people don't get protection when they don't know that they need it. And then in some cases, things are happening to them and they don't know why. And at that point, they probably would have needed protection and they don't know. But I will say, when I went to, Oregon, and I've told you all about that incident when I went up in the mountains and met the lady. One of the things she told me was that I'm getting ready to enter into some places that I need to be protected. And I didn't think about what she was talking about at the time because I had no clue. But in that room was all these angelic symbols and different symbols, all kinds of symbols on the walls. And they all had significant meaning now that I can think back and look into what it was. But it was so much to a point to what she was giving me a warning. And when I started studying symbolism, when I started going to some of the past, I knew this was more than what we know, more than what we can encounter. And that's when I felt the urge. And it was just like, so you need to create your protection, get your protection together. And why not? Because this is what people do. This is what they're doing. So I started understanding it, that there could be things, principalities, and we know that there's other realms of things that are out here that's more than just aliens, right? And so I think there's something what we would do from there. The other part, when we get down to religious stuff, why do religious symbols resonate with millions? Picture a cross or a crescent moon, and what emotions? So let's go there. How many people have a cross in their house? How many people have had a cross in the closet? How many people have took the cross itself as the symbol and sat there and prayed to it, and maybe had a prayer closet? I did it. Okay. There was a time that I had a prayer closet in my house, and I had a cross sitting in there. And when I go in there, especially after I had an argument with the she-wolf, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm maintaining the calmness, I would go in there and pray and meditate or do whatever I was trying to do. But it was also not only into the thought of it, but it was to the cross that was sitting there. That was the symbolic thing. And so we know that people do it. There's not a lot of you out here who don't. And see, someone said, I got a cross tatted on me now. So, and he got the cross, and when he put it on himself, I'm sure he had a symbolic meaning for that. R.N. was said, now that I thought about it, and my thing has always been a heart with stars or a butterfly type of bird, especially with wings, and never realized I used them so often. All right. And there's all kinds of wings, butterflies, and animals in this book that has significant symbolic meanings, and so it is worth it for you to check that out wholeheartedly. It does do that. There you go. Lillian says she liked crosses. A lot of people like crosses, and everything else. And so the other part of that, what emotions did it invoke in you when you thought about that, when you all of a sudden had the point of doing the symbols and everything else. And so this is not doing the symbols, but that cross itself. What emotions did it do for you? Philly Cat said my symbol is the Ankh, but I knew the meaning beforehand. Well, okay, well, the Ankh has been around quite some time, and in some cases it had, you know, the meaning of fertility, and then it had all kinds of other meaning. There's a lot of people that had cross meanings of the Ankh, and depending on the culture and depending on where you came from, then it would be. So, for example, we can look that up right here. So, the Ankh, surmounted by a loop. The Ankh is a prominent feature of ancient Egyptians' beliefs. Okay, so this is what it is, and it's also artworks and funeral, and then so it has a meaning, and the volume meaning that can be squeezed from it is simpler. It's inspiring, right? Is what it says here. Represent the male and the female genitalia, and the sun coming over the horizon in the union of heaven and earth in association with the sun. And of course, it's probably ask plenty of people, and they'll probably have their own different interpretation, unless they really studied it. What exactly does that particular symbol means when it comes down to it? Because I know mistakenly some people take it one way and the other. This is why it is important, so that once you start going down this particular area in your life, that you then have it to resonate for you, and you draw the power out of the symbol that you are drawn to for you, the good of what your intentions are. And so whether the power somebody else is drawing it for negative, someone else could be doing it for positive. And therefore, depending on the scale and magnitude of the what's the social presence of the symbol, it's going to take on that meaning. So if you see more people that's using it for evil, then what would soon happen is that most people are going to say that symbol is the devil, or it's Satan, or it's bad, or it's not good, or whatever word they want to use, only because of the majority of the social presence, as opposed to going to looking up the symbol itself. And so I think that's something that a lot of us need to think about. So what, especially when you stumble across things in secret societies. Now, I think by far that is our most prominent depictions when it comes down to understanding secret societies is the symbols. It is the symbols that represent the secret societies wholeheartedly, right? So when you think about the skull and bones, or you think about the Pirates of the Caribbean, which is now running our bank systems and all of this stuff, they all had their symbols or sigils that will let you know what is happening from there. And so, especially when we talking about secret society, so you got the Baphomet, and you have the I'm talking about Baphomet. You have all of these different symbolic symbols of these ancient secret societies. But if you start thinking closely, then that is the meaning itself. Yeah, even Nike check mark is symbolic. I think it's the goddess of I just forget her name just that fast, but it comes from the sign of that. And it'll come to me in just a minute anyway. But it is the whole point. And when they put these things and companies together, the question was, do they harness that power? So she says, let us discuss this. We only know fear. Which part do you want to discuss? Let me know, Kim. But what I'm saying is, when it gets down to secret societies, okay, I'm gonna find one in here, okay, because I should have brought the other book in here for you, and that bad boy talks about some serious stuff, right? And but it's and here's the deal: when you think about this one right here, this med staff, this is probably one of the most well-known symbols in the world that we associated with the medical industry, right? But yet this thing has a whole nother meaning within itself. And it does. And it belongs to the Greek god of healing, whose names it bears. And so they are taking the Greek god of healing, his particular symbol, and now it is the one that is in our whole medical community when it comes down to that. But yet we see this sign, if it was in front of a hospital or somewhere and you were injured, you're going to go. You're going to go because you know it means medical help, but you don't know that it has an ancient symbolism to it, an ancient power, but yet you know that what it means. So this is the concern that I have when it comes down to truth versus authority, because there's things that we're doing, seeing, and not even knowing we're being guided or controlled or moved. And we don't even know the history of things. And I'm not saying you see that med staff and you don't go to get your help. There are some good people that are sitting there behind it, and therefore, but everything started with a particular symbolic thing. So from the sun, from the moon, from anything you can think of, it all exists. And when you're talking about symbolic, from animals, hell, we can go just deep into a freaking animal when we was talking about it. But earlier, I think somebody mentioned the infinity symbol. Often the simplest symbol out there, right? Has some of the richest meanings when you come down to this. And it also it's a mysterious symbol and it's found in everyday objects, on the camera and in everyday life. But what do we know about the meaning? And this thing was discovered way back in 1655. And this was before there were, written words and all this stuff. And so it was symbols that they used when we saw these things, the upside down cross, inverted cross. Now we have if we flip it the other way, we're going to think of Christianity, but we flip it upside down, it's the crucifix of the cross. But now people thinking it means the evil. And so now people are saying it's sinister and it belongs to the satanics people or satanics, but it was actually the upside down crucifix. And so in the translation and where we are takes on the meaning. This one is probably one of the most profound ones right here. And this is that little fish, although it actually has a different meaning, we represent this with Christianity, right? Who doesn't, who didn't? You see it on back of bumpers and all that, but did they really know where that always went back to the Catholics, to the Romans, to the priest? And then because they was wearing the hats and that they was wearing was a fish head, okay, and the opus or whatever it's called, but it was the fish head, and it represented Dagon, the fish god, and yet that is not Christianity, right? But yet Christianity took the fish and then turned it into Jesus as a shirt. Okay, thank you. If you go to the store, you're going to see every shirt has the symbol of protection on it that I know a lot of us don't know. When you're talking about aliens, you're talking about demons, you're talking about reincarnation. This is entering into the spirit worlds. This is entering into unbeknownst a lot of things. When I talk to people, hundreds of people, and they want to tell me about their high strange stuff, whether it's about some spiritual attacks, whether there's some type of demonic things, that stuff can easily be transferred. It can easily be transferred. So this is why I would answer Kim's question. Yeah, when you think you need protection, you would. Yeah, I mean, there are some people that say some stuff that if you don't watch it, it will jump toward on you. It will drain you. It will possess you if you don't understand the concepts. But since I go into it all protection, that's why I don't mind talking to people with some of the weirdest stories. There are some people out there that tell me some things that will make some of you cringe. There's some things that people tell me that some of you wouldn't get any sleep at night. There's some things that it'll tell you that will make you probably go up and slap your mama. Or there's some things that some people share with me that will just totally make your day just fall to the floor. But I'm able to handle it, and this is what I'm here for. So why not? I would not, protect myself when it comes down to it. And so knowing that I'm going into the world of symbolism and all of that, and knowing that I understood it and I understood the power of it. And there's someday that I'm going to share with some of you. It is time for you to learn to do that. This is why when you see family crest and you see these wealthy people make their crest, as they're calling it, but it's their symbol for their family protection. These things have different elements involved, different, the lion, different stuff that is representing for their wealth and for their family so that they keep their stuff protected. Like I said, it's only us who do logos and things that somebody tell us is cool because somebody's going to like it, and they have no fucking meaning. They just don't. It looks good, but this is why the businesses sometimes doesn't grow. This is why we don't get the message across, because there's no power in it. There's no true power in the symbols or the generic makeup of that logo. So you can still have somebody to create it. And in doing that, we've been on for 48 minutes, Desiree. But the whole point is that you could sit here and, like I said, you want to make sure, and let me just go back to a basic real quick here. And I'm just glad we're going to this. All right. So right here, we're just going to go with the basic dot. Okay. This is a dot. Now we represent this dot when we get down into just the dot of a sentence. But what people don't understand, that this thing is the dot is what it is for the beginning, but it's an essential component of structure of the sentence. But also in the universe, it's the symbol of the supreme being. It's the potential of it. It's the point of creation. This dot is also called the bindu, right? You see a lot of Indian people put it on their heads up there, but it's something more. It marks a lot of stuff. So and I'm not going to get into it, but it's the doorway of things, but it's the beginning. This is why you see a lot of symbols with a dot and then a circle, and it's the sun or the beginning or whatever you want to call it. So you can go through all of that now. So when you get to the circle, I'm just going to read this to you a little bit, and then we'll continue on with our conversation. The circle is the next logical magic symbol, and it's the expansion of the dot. But let me give you some meanings where this is going when you go through this. And so basically, the circle is constructed of what we call something, right? But it also is what they call the unbroken line, because it's not ending, and it's nothing, because the space inside of the circle is something totally different, because you would have to put something in it. This is why most 90% of spell casting, they're going to put a circle around you or it or anything, because that's the power of it. But also, the circle unifies the spirit. Okay, hear me out. In the matter, in the structure, and it also it's the power of reason. It's the spiritual strength, and it's also the symbolic of protection. There was some other stuff right there I skipped on purpose, but it is for your psychic protection. It is for spiritual safe haven, where unwanted and uninvited entities cannot enter. So let me just make sure I read that to you, so you know right off the bat, this is the most important part of it right here, is that it is where that the magic circle creates a fortress of psychic protection and spiritual safe haven, where unwanted and uninvited entities cannot enter. So and it's no different if you go back to a Roman days or whatever, they put a circle around things. You put a fence around stuff. You do this in the real world. You're going to circle the enemy. You're going to, even when back out in the wars and when they put, when they wanted to protect themselves, they all turned their backs to each other in a circle. And by that, they knew that they had a circle of protection, because long as nobody didn't break through, and they all can see things from all over. So not only it had a magical spiritual meaning, but it has a protection. And this is why my particular branding is into a circle of protection. So when this is designed, it's not designed just to be, even when I did Project Black logos, and y'all seen it, I was doing it then. I already knew, because where we were going, Project Black had a circle and it had a double ring of protection, but nobody really knew, because I never explained it to you all that this was part of what we were doing. And then, like, a lot of people saw, oh, it's nice, it's cute, and it's whatever, but it had a significant meaning on it, because I knew we were going places where there will be some people and things that will play havoc on what we were trying to do with Project Black, and we needed to be protected. But I didn't want to come off where people thinking, well, why would Roderick say that or whatever, and they don't really know or could not handle the fact that we are in a world where strange shit was happening. And it still does. And it really does. And things that we have no freaking clue that is going on, because we don't have the power to understand it, not just yet. But now, from all of the stuff that I've done, all of the UFO stuff and the secret information, the whatever, it just gets deeper and deeper. And it's like, you know what, it's time to take the gloves off. There's time for us to play. But also, as you can convey in this message, to disobey. And it doesn't mean for you to say, okay, you're going to go down the street and they tell you to slow down, and then you speed up because you want to tell the police officer he's nuts and you're not going to stop. I didn't tell you to do that. That's not what disobedient means. That means, I'm just saying that it's time for you to think for yourself. And as you think for yourself, you make those decisions to do what you're doing, and pretty much from there. But I have a whole lineage of these I've been working behind the scenes. Here's one, that the rebellion, and this is all about truth versus authority. It's the heart, but it's also the symbol of the closed fist. That is an actual symbol. When I was talking the other day, when it has questioned what you see, hear, and smell. And then, of course, there was another version. But I got some cool stuff in our brand of what we're doing, and it is just cool from there. But this is my non-compliant. Y'all might like that. I got one that says non-compliant, and pretty much. But the colors, the royal blue, the whites, it's all more for a symbolic reason, and pretty much. Yeah. So Jay says, I cannot be affected unless I allowed or give my consent. Well, let me give you an example, Jay. One of the things we talk about, especially in this book of Sacred Secrets, right? And I'm glad you brought that up. And you make a statement that I'm not saying is not true, okay? But I'm going to tell you how they infiltrate everybody and how they do this, where you can't stop it. You just can't. You need to be protected, but you cannot stop it. And they know how to do it. I think some of you should know where I'm going. Yeah, spells and everything else. But let me find it. And we will, let me find it for you. I should have a page for this thing, but I just don't. Let's flip a little faster, and then, but there is a way that they're doing this, and you can't do nothing about it. I know you're saying what you won't let them, but I guess I can just share it with you without trying to do an illustration, but I thought the illustration would be better to share it with you with, and we can do that. But we talked about the spells and what comes of that when it comes down from sound and frequencies. And this is what they're using today. They've been using it and every day. You can't block what's coming through your ears. Nobody has the way of doing that. Nobody has a way of doing that, and you just can't block it in pretty much. But if any of you, somebody's asking what this is, so let me put it up on the screen for you while I'm still flipping through. It's the Book of Sacred Secrets. You can go to that website on the screen and you can download this, and it will be one of the most helpful things. But I'm just flipping through. That's the Merkaba book, but man, I should just know this thing anyway by heart, but I don't remember the page numbers. But anyway, I went all the way back. But anyway, it's all about the sound. We talked about music. We talked about like Travis Scott, all of these concerts and what they are doing. Sound and frequency is the way that they infiltrate us, and you have no control. You can't stop it. That don't mean that you don't protect yourself, but once it enters in to psychic, you don't even know it. You could be listening to something and have no clue that there's a higher frequency within some music that you could be listening to, and that music finds its way into your psychic and do things. And I think a lot of people don't know, and they should be leery of that. He said, I cannot have my free will violated, else I don't have free will. It's not about the free will being violated. I don't think that we're looking at it from, and I'm not going, I shouldn't go where we're getting ready to go with that, Jay, but I'm not going in the religious component of what we think. And this is the problem that we have here. We fight things from a religious world, which is okay. But these people are playing a higher game. They're playing a conscious mind. They're after our minds. And our minds ain't got nothing to do with free will. You can have free will, but your mind can be messed up, period, whether you want it to or not, right? There's things that they can do to blow our minds, and it's against our free will. Now, that doesn't mean that physically or literally you're not going to do something that you don't want to do. But once they invade the psyche of everything, they have control. Yeah, and there you go. Like Jen saying, it has nothing to do with your free will. It's about manipulating the environment to give your to give over the free will. Thank you, Jay. That's and I know you weren't talking about religion. I'm not saying that you were, but I'm saying that just what Jen just said there, it is not about that. It is the environment and how they can change things. It's no different than anything else. But I'm just flipping through because I wanted to find that, and I'm now invested in finding it. But let me continue down this route so we can continue to discuss. But anyway, if any of you decide that it's something, there is a link in the description there. You can go get your copy of this great stuff and this information. And please do go get you some from there. And there you go. Cosmic astrology is saying it is higher than free will. Yeah. Maurer says they have been manipulating us through sound waves and stuff since we were children. Absolutely. It is all a frequency game. I realize that everything is this is why we tell everybody, think about it. This is why we are telling people you got to be on a higher vibration. Well, that's a frequency. And so therefore, if they're able to tap into, thank you, Philly Cat. There's the link there. She says she has a book. I'm looking for the page that has about the spells in music. So if you let me know that page number, I'll turn it on there. And you'll see the Travis Scott Astrowell picture that's in it. So let me know when it comes in there. And there we go. So again, we're talking symbols, we're talking magic, and not in a sense of the magic wand, which we know exists. This is why they call it Hollywood. He says, I cannot be reincarnated unless I agree to it. That's cool, because by that time you're on the other side, y'all having that conversation. And you might say, don't send me back. You get what I'm saying? And that could be true. You might have that option to say, I don't want to be reincarnated, but you're in another plane when you're talking to whoever that is, and you're making that discussion. And that's not about free will. That's just a discussion y'all having. Don't send me back, or whatever. So, and only then and then you're going to know the moment, but that is all. But I'm talking about infiltration, and then the manipulation that Jen was talking about of your environment, and pretty much from there. So it's one of those things that we look at it. Oh, she said page 18. Okay. All right. So let me go to page 18. Page 18 is the chakras. Which page you got? You say page? not astral projection. I'm looking for spells in music. It's going to be spells in music. So now you got me flipping through the pages again. But anyway, so this is a great conversation that we all are having when it comes down to what we're talking about. So I think it's something. But again, when we're going deeper into the symbolism, there's something there that we can look into from there. But let me yeah, it's not page 18, Philip. It's going to be page. Man, somebody else look for that stuff because I don't know where it is. I'm flipping through. You can only do it yourself once you do that. And I get it. There's a lot of things. I think a lot of us people have different thoughts and teachings and everything else. And I think there's many ways to skin a cat. There's many roads to destination, right? There's many. Oh, here it is. Okay. So it is page 92. All right. So it's about music is a form of frequency. Okay. And frequency enters our being without permission, period. And this is why you see the symbolic. Now, this is a symbol of this. We would think this more of an evil creature, but you're sleeping and it is singing to your spirit while you sleep when it comes down to this. And this is the point that we're making here. It's impacting you profoundly. It can shape our emotional state, our attentions, our thoughts, whether it's a slow piano piece invoking sadness or his music yields a considerable influence in his power and terms for growth. Go back. It does not mean free will to enter. It has a potent to impact your subconscious mind and everything, some incredible stuff. But anyway, Sacred is in the description. If you want to go down there and learn, so and pretty much, and I'll put it back on the screen. Somebody said I'm breaking up again. I don't know. My internet is kicking butt, but I can see where it's doing this thing. And well, there you go. Frequencies are doing its stuff, and it's doing it. So, all right. So hopefully, yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I see it breaking up on my end. I don't know. Like I say, I'm just on the internet, so I'm not really for sure what is happening from there. But yeah, maybe I can flip it to Wi-Fi and it may work. So let me see if it works. It may not. Well, let me do a speed test first, and then that'll let me know what's really happening with the internet and what's going on. So. And there you go. We talking about some stuff, man. They could be blocking these things out, and so it could be more of a potent situation to be dealing with. And yeah, we should be okay now, saying that we're all good and pretty much. But anyway, yeah, if you want to support the show, you want to get you a copy of that. I'll try to put it back on the screen here, and that'll be something I think everybody should have in their arsenal. It's an instant download and you can print it up and do things yourself with it. I make it a little more sacred for myself. I study it and then I have deliberately, I put it in this particular book. It's the same stuff, but I put it in here because I like to look at it from more of a more older place, so to speak, to give it a little more collectible things for me. So I just put it in this little thing, and it's my personal, protection thing. So, and there we go. So that's the same thing. I just put it in here for myself. But you can do that. You can print it up yourself and do stuff if that's what you want to do, and pretty much doing it. And I do the same thing. Someone says, I don't think it's your imagination. And someone else saying that get the books, it's off. Yeah, Natural healing is also talking about getting it, and that's pretty good. So let's continue with our conversation. When you start thinking about political and social movements, when you see a raised fist, that's a symbol, all right? And that's what I have on that other shirt that I showed you. When you see a raised fist, it's a symbol. But what did it come from? Is it a symbol of rebellion? In fact, we saw in a political world, we saw when they was doing the attempt on Mr. Trump, what did he do? After he was being walked off, he put up the symbol of this. And people knew, no, it means fight, it means rebellion, it means the whole 9 yards. But it was a symbol that came about years ago. But yet it conveyed a huge message. In fact, when he did this, the symbolic message of that infused other people to begin to be enraged, to want to know what is going on. So I think it's pretty much. So Jen says, what about when Kamala says, does the whole arm movement, the thing when she says the thing about forgetting the past and remaking the future? Well, that's the whole point. When you think about MAGA, and MAGA whole thing was make America great again, they cleverly is saying we don't want to go back without saying, but it sends the indication that we don't want to make America great again, because if they did it that way, it wasn't that great. I don't know. But the whole point was everything is symbolic in how they do it. So let's look at the, like I said, we don't know these symbols unite or divide us in any ways. They can do this. But imagine a symbol so powerful that it can change the way you think, the way you act, the way you vote. Or have you ever considered how symbols influence your daily decisions? And so I'm just saying that it is a powerful thing out here. And when you are not aware of what is happening, it can get really, really pretty much from there when it comes down. I talked about this siren. You remember I talked about this yesterday and just kind of in a meaningful way. But again, there's a lot of stuff that we can all recall, and we can go back and say, what are we thinking when we do this? Even a pentagram. I mean, that is something worth noting. People talk about the pentagram, that people use. You got the like she said, a Baphomet. You have all of these particular symbols, but even a pentagram was well known. And I think at one point, if I'm not mistaken, was the Star of David. All right. So y'all see this right here. This is the 4 elements. You have air, fire, water, and earth. This is why you see the water sign up here. And that is one of the reasons it's sitting on my head, because it represents the element of water. And it's a powerful element. Now, if we go into the Baphomet, which is recognized today, let me see if I can scroll down into this thing. It's there we go. And it's recognized today as the winged goat with a masculine torso. The breast has a blazing torch between its horn, has a clove feet. This image has made its first appearance recently in the Levi's Dogma and Rituals. And it also goes deep, it's not only on tarot cards, which is right there. And I can go deep in it, but I'm not going to hold. We're going to do a show on that. We would definitely do a show to put things in more perspective. I think we'll do that. We'll start talking about the different meanings of different symbols and everything else. But the other part is, when we think about government leaders, like y'all are putting in the chat, you start thinking about all of these different things and the way they do things. It is all definitely, for example, when I was in the Conscious Awards, to represent forbidden knowledge at the time. I was taking a picture and I would do the whole fours like this. And really, that's Billy's thing of forbidden knowledge, right? He just turned these fours. Well, if you go look, every photo I took, there was people, doing the same hand symbol, and I was just doing it to represent 4BK. Then it became that everybody who stood up next to me hold the four fingers. And every 100 photos emulated the four fingers to take the picture. And even though they knew, but what if, and I have no clue that, it has some other meaning behind it that the original person put it together, and it could be something else. I don't know. All right, it was 4BK. So I was representing Forbidden Knowledge because I'm part of the team. And I was just doing it, because they was there at the Forbidden Knowledge conference. And then everybody was taking pictures and doing what they do. So I think it's one of those things to look at. Jay says, I can get tricked into anything, but not made to do anything. Low vibration things may be subject to just about anything. Been living this very spiritual life, done seen beings and furniture moving. Okay, well, there you go. So I think we're all on the same page of higher things, but I think at some point, and then that doesn't mean that there's not other entities out there that's protecting you. Just as much as bad entities, there's good ones out there. There's some who are in favor of mankind. There are some that comes out of nowhere. We call them angels or whatever you want to call them, your guardian angels or whatever. But there are just as many as bad as good. And I think just like the polarity of the yin yang, there's good and bad, and there's, on both sides. Is why I also talk about truth versus authority in the same window, because the opposite is true when it comes down to those things. So I think it's something that we all can look at. All right. So with that being said, I think that, we're going to go down that route. We're going to go down a route of symbolism. We're going to go down a route of different things and pretty much. And so I would love to, once again, have any of you that you decide to be a part of what we're doing. Once again, it is the rebellion has started now for you to begin the point that you want to rebel. We're going to get ready to get out of here because obviously this internet sugar honey iced tea is really doing some bad stuff and pretty much. And we can do that. All right. With that being said, do anyone got any other questions or anything for me before we go? And I just wanted to live stream to you. And the SWAT sticker, yeah, we could have talked about that. That is pretty prominent as well when it comes down to those things. So we could, yeah. Yeah. So is there anything that, and make sure you guys like and share the videos. Make sure you, hit the like button, start sharing some of the content. If y'all haven't done it, all of you, I would love for you to, go to the Instagram, Truth versus Authority Instagram. Make sure you follow the page. There's already a short there. There'll be some other stuff, and also on Twitter, but mainly Instagram. And then if you can, share that Instagram video, and we can do that. So we can definitely do that as well. But please, there's enough of you right now. Facebook, I can't get the URL until I get 100 followers. So you have to, type in and search for Truth versus Authority. But if you go there, follow it, we can get more followers on that, and I'll start uploading content. But Twitter, Instagram, and then TikTok as well. But the main thing is Instagram. So go to Truth versus Authority on Instagram. That's the username as well. Follow it, do everything else. That's the store that Philly Cat just put up. If you want to support and get your rebellious gear with your protection already in it, we can do in that. Lady So Real says, I'm following you on IG. Appreciate it. Yeah, and I just need all y'all to do that because we're going in a whole powerful direction, and I just want you kind of to follow us on this journey so we can do that. I hope you didn't write me off, Rod, just getting my life back. It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. We all sometimes, don't worry about it. We together on everything. I have really nothing to say, but it's all good. With that being said, I love each and every one of you. It is Friday. We will do some more live streams during the week, start next week. I'll get a definitive schedule together where I will hit out. Well, we're going to do a lot of stuff on different symbols, the backgrounds of them. And so maybe we'll talk about the Baphomet symbol next week. We'll go a little deep into it, some hidden meanings maybe. And should you fear it? Should you use it? Why not? Who knows? Is it just, associated with Satan? Does it have a good meaning to it? Does it have a bad meaning to it? And all of that. But in the meantime, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. And I hope to see you all next year's Conscious Awards as we will win again. We would do that. So, all right. Love each and every one of you. Y'all have a good one. I am going to the gym. It is early enough for me to go. I work out during the day, but I think I'm going to go and just 30 minutes into a hot tub and steam room and talk to some fellas and chill. And we would do that. And you will communicate with your mods. Yes, I will communicate with the mods. And get all y'all together. And we need some new mods too. So we'll add some more to the collection because Philicat does a great job. She's here all the time. And I think we only have but a couple of you in here. And we need at least 4 or 5 per show over time. So we would do just that. All right. Love you guys. We will talk and let's get out of here. Have a good one. Let me get our good out video there.
Why did Ruby shoot Oswald? Was there a conspiracy?
In a world shrouded in darkness and obscured by deception from the big secret keepers, a burning question ignites in the hearts and minds of truth seekers. Why? Let's dive into the abyss of the unknown. Challenge the limits of our understanding.
This bizarre sequence of double killings raised great questions. Who actually fired the shots that killed Kennedy?
Pierce the veil of secrecy.
Cattle found dead and the manner of their deaths are a real mystery.
Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint.
And venture into the realm of conspiracies and extraterrestrial evidence.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Let us